starting on time, so let us start.
Yes.
So by the time we finish all the pleasantries, maybe those who they can join. Engineer John Paul is a member of AEA. Mr. Anand Menon?
Huh?
John Paul, is he a member of AEA?
Yeah.
Okay. So
is he coming?
No. Good evening, friends, and welcome to this webinar. This is a joint webinar along with Architects and Engineers Association. We will start out with a silent prayer, and yeah. We have lost one of our dear members, Engineer John Paul. He's also a member of AEA. So to pray for the departed soul, we will observe a 2-minute silence. Thank you. Now for a formal vote of for formal welcome address, I invite Engineer Anand Menon.
Good evening, friends. Mr. Jabir Karat, CEO Greenworms, President TMA Vinod Manjula, members of AEA and TMA, invited guests and friends. The work done by Jabir and team in the last few years for the environment and for our fellow citizens. The work of collecting 27,000 tons of waste and saving over 50,000 tons of carbon emissions is nothing but remarkable. These figures may be old, must have been much more now. Today we listen to this young entrepreneur's story and seek inspiration for many more to follow him in making our earth a better place to live in. He has proved that we have a practical solution to waste management. Let me first of all welcome you, Jabir, to today's webinar. I would like to welcome our dynamic TMA President Vinod Manjula, youthful, who's trying to bring an environment, a change management, who's making a difference to the management environment of Trichyur by innovative initiatives, which is well appreciated by one and all. Today's program is jointly organized by Trichyur Management Association and AEA. And I would like to welcome Vinod formally to this function. I also welcome all the members of both AEA and TMA and friends who have logged in for today's meeting. We look forward to a very, very interesting session. Thank you for a patient listening. Over to you, Vinod.
Thank you, Engineer Anand Menon. Chief guest of the day, Mr. Jabir Karat, founder of Greenworms, President of AEA and past President of TMA, Engineer Anand Menon, past Presidents of TMA and AEA, members of AEA and TMA, and dear friends. AEA and TMA has a very close relationship. Many of our members and past presidents of TMA are very active members of AEA. Both AEA and TMA have been working in the community to create a positive impact. Now I think it's time for us to join together and create signature projects for the benefit of the society. This evening, we have the opportunity to listen to an inspiring story. We normally hear of startups in the IT industry, but here is a startup in the waste management sector. A real story of rag to riches. We have heard the term getting one's hand dirty. And here is a person who has literally worked as a garbage collector. Jabir's biodata has been shared, so I'll keep it brief. Greenworms was started in the year 2014 in Calicut with 5 lakh rupees capital and with a 5-member team. I happened to meet him in the year 2017, where he was just struggling to get it going. But today, he employs around 300 employees directly and around 300 indirectly. His operation spreads across 7 districts, 32 villages, and 4 municipalities, and manages 40 tons of waste a day. His turnover is around 8.2 crores, and he has already got a funding of 85 lakhs from a US-based investor. Normally, startups always run on loss, but here is a startup making 5% profit. That means this is a model that truly works. And his dream is to employ around 10,000 people by the year 2028 and bring dignity to this profession and attract youngsters into this sector. With these few words, over to you, Mr. Jabir.
Thank you, Vinod sir and Anand sir, for the kind introduction, and I'm really honored, maybe privileged to be here. A little nervous too, maybe spending maybe an hour with you. So I don't want to take it as a session or a lecture, rather some of my learnings, maybe, especially in the waste management space, I have been working in this space for the last 7 years now. And some of my learnings and lessons I have learned. And of course, as an entrepreneur, how the journey has been so far. I'm a history, formally I'm a history postgraduate with no business or science backgrounds. So I started out this journey with garbage, only as just the attitude, right? Attitude or the passion. Nothing about the technology, nothing about how to run a business. So it has been really enriching as a person, over the period of years. Personally, it has been pretty much empowering. So I'll be just sharing some of my thoughts, and maybe briefly introduce my organization, the kind of work we do, and where do we see ourselves actually working in Kerala and all. And I would like to have more in terms of a discussion for question and answers. So that's a kind of a plan. Can you enable me to share the screen?
Shobi, can you please give the sharing?
Yeah, it's already forward right now.
Yeah.
Just give me a moment. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
You would like to make it full screen? Yeah.
See, first thing, I just wanted to emphasize, because a lot of people do not know the story beyond the dustbin, or especially what happens to our garbage, or typically any type of waste. So, some of the pictures, daunting pictures, which is recently there are still thousands of women who does still pick up dry latrines with their own bare hands, and and people who actually literally clean the sewages. So another picture, by the e-waste, how because the informal industry, the e-waste is being, because there are some precious metals in it, so they actually melt this using some chemicals, and also there's a high, very toxic chemicals, the fumes. So they don't really worry about what they can derive out of. It's all informal industry. And even if you visit this the Cochin place or any, when the municipalities, will see thousands of people scavengers through these waste piles to actually literally make a living out of it. Uh, on the other hand, as a country, so in terms of you may have heard the recent pollution. All the countries, one in every 8 deaths in India is related to air pollutions. Our environmental performance index, or the most one of the top 12 out of 15 most polluted cities are in India. So it's just, it's actually that, there are places where we cannot take a breath. So that's terrible, the situations. And in terms of so recently, that's the kind of in every place you may see encounter mountains garbage. So this is again uh, situations in our country. It's especially metro cities, it's a pretty big issue. Um, even 12 lakhs metric tons, I think it's somewhat similar in Cochin Corporation as well recently. So now they are going to biomine it. So due to this National Green Tribunal order, spending crores and crores of rupees to actually recover this kinds of material. So do you know this space? I don't know how many of you are aware about this space. So this is actually Brahmapuram. Uh, Look at this river flowings, behind it. Um, so actually, so the when there is a food waste or plastic waste, actually there's a leachate. Maybe there's a leachate which flows into the groundwater and actually infects this even the groundwater. So this is the situation. One of the interesting picture I found about Cochin. And this is mostly the place where people go for this, holy dip, punya snan cheyan vendi, one of the picture. So it's the kind of holiest river, as per our Indian traditions. This is the kind of situations. So it's another, a lot of people throw away. I tell the small kids, even if you throw away, keep this food waste separately and plastic waste separately. You throw food waste separately and plastic separately. So a lot of animals, actually, especially cows and other things, they actually, uh, you know, while they eat it, they eat along with the plastics in order, so it goes inside, it doesn't get digested. So there are a lot of such cases, uh, actually increasing day by day in terms of, our waste is actually affecting the other animals or other living beings on this earth. So it's another interesting picture. A lot of international medias usually use this. Albatross actually lives in a very remote islands in the Pacific Ocean, and so they used to get a lot of fruits or other materials to eat. Nowadays they are getting these kinds of it's very terrible or horrific. So what I'm trying to say, show all these pictures that we all, a lot of people do not know about, because if we visit Delhi, we visit mostly in those fancy places. We may not know what happens to that the garbage of the city, or even the Cochin, because if you once visits that Brahmapuram, your shirts will get very foul smell, and so it's very, very, very sad situation as a country or as a state we all go through. Or you get to see, on the both roadsides. So waste is a very serious issue. It's a severe issue. So I'm trying to tell you, or I'm trying to show some of my humble work, or something I'm still trying to do, or what I have understood this journey to understand the waste. So two things which I usually use. It's a garbology is the term, we usually use in terms of so it's about the science of learning garbage. It's and trashnomics, it's about how can you derive some economic value from trash. So I do both these things, as somebody who is very curious to learn new things. So I do a lot of studies and experiments with the garbage. And also I always believe in self sustainable business model or a social enterprise business model. So anything, how can you derive maximum out of it? So some of my thoughts are, I'm going to share here. So understanding waste specifically, you'll have to understand, maybe we can say it's a, anything, it's a waste problem, but you'll have to break down waste into multiple things, kind of a municipal waste, something which generates from our households or commercial establishments, biomedical waste you see only in hospitals, hazardous waste, especially in a big factories and or construction waste, or agri waste. For example, agri waste, I'll tell you, I'm working with an organizations in Cochin who produce more than 5 metric tons of tapioca peels and this banana, the raw banana peels. So they're making some chips and chips to export. So they were struggling how to dispose these huge volumes of even the biodegradable, we call it as agri waste. Uh, it's a huge problem. So I mean, generally we need to understand the waste in a different way. We need to break down the waste to understand further. For example, specifically as a person, we have more expertise in municipal waste. So again, we have narrowed down to a little more better areas. So I'm taking only this municipal waste as my area. Again, you'll have to break down the municipal waste into organic waste or inorganic waste or sanitary waste like napkins or diapers. Again, I used to do a lot of such organic waste processing and all initially. Right now I'm focusing more on especially inorganic waste or non-biodegradable waste. So that's those still 10% of customers I do provide organic waste disposal service. So again, inorganic waste, non-biodegradable waste, we'll have to break down again what's an issue, or how. That's something I learned. To finding a solution, you'll have to break down the solution, problems, and how we can find the solutions to each thing, or how we can design a solution. So non-biodegradable waste, plastics, we'll have to understand plastic. There are different types of plastics, like a PET bottle, water bottles, or a milk sachet, or a toothbrush. Uh, any type of even all kinds of plastics, packaging materials or other things, even paper, right from cartons, or normal newspaper to any tissue paper, even all those things, broken glasses. So you have to again footwear, clothes, bags, thermocol, all these kinds of waste. So we manage mostly these kinds of inorganic waste or non-biodegradable waste. So what's something I found it very interesting, or maybe something I have learned over the period, especially once I ventured into these things. For example, this all are waste as per something. It's a leftover. We eat something inside it and we throw away. Usually, it's a waste generates from our house. But however, for example, if you give this if you give it to an animal, maybe a cow, it becomes a food. Even a banana peels, if you give it to cow, it's a food. So what I'm trying to say here, something which is waste for you may not be waste for someone else, and not necessarily a waste for someone else. So for any material or anything which for examples, we dispose water bottles or a newspaper, something we don't read the same newspaper every day, right? We just keep it there. So but somebody comes to your home and pick up that newspaper. They may buy, they might give you some penny and take that away. So something which is of no use to you, someone else is coming and pick it. So in the similar way, all this something I understood, all kind of discards or leftovers or thrown away material has some use. The problem is, how do we utilize it, or how do we throw it, or how do we store it, how do we treat it? It's all about that. Every material, which maybe at the first instance it may be a useless things for you, but for someone else or some other purpose, it can be reused, or it can be reutilized or repurposed. That's something I have realized. For example, so this arecanut, no, this is a sugarcane bagasse. It used to be a very big issue once upon a time, like kaya pit or kaya dust and all. So they used to burn this in, especially in the boilers. So somebody has come up with this product, so these are biodegradable cutleries, which is pretty available in all the markets. So so agri waste into a useful products. So because somebody has thought it that material is a different way. And again, we used to do a lot of events. These are some of the pictures which we have taken, in our own events. My father cuts a banana leaf. So something, any events usually, because in our system, I don't know where does that come. If it's a vegetarian food, we always use a banana leaf. If it's a non-vegetarian food, we always prefer ceramic plates or a thermocol, uh, single-use materials, because some thought has come. So the idea is that how do you, in terms of something before COVID I have done, so may not be possible, especially the ceramics, and post-COVID things has changed. So I have set up a lot of units in terms of, Kudumbashri units. They used to rent out these ceramic plates. And they, again, the service of, they used to take out the, washing service and all. So we used to charge around 3 to 4 rupees per person, a team would go there and set up, distribute these materials, and they take, wash it and everything. So some of the events we used to do a lot of zero waste events, weddings and all. So even we are still distributing, these kinds of biodegradable plates. And this is one of the plates, arecanut leaf plates, which is mostly, it's around 4 rupees only. It's not, it's very robust, and it's really good. So we had set up many such plans. Into ideas that to propagate the concepts that alternative materials are possible, or you can get away from plastics. So another, it's an interesting invention. People are thinking about, because single-use material is one of the key issue. If it's whether it's a spoon, or whether it's a bowl, or a cups, or even as straw, actually. So people are edible. People are coming up with inventing new things. So again, another picture to show that cycling. There is an organization based in Cochin who does pick up these kinds of material. They clean it and they make various kinds of these products and sells in Amazons and Flipkart and all. So there is an organization in Cochin who does literally pick up these materials and repurpose into something useful. And the one product, one bag is being sold for 1,500 rupees. So there is another lady who actually picks up the carry bags from Delhi. So her organization name is Conserve India. So her organization turnover is more than 100 crore. And her products are only being sold in Milan or Paris, or especially in European markets. So she picks up this poly carry bags in Delhi, along with she buys from the rack pickers and she washes it along with her engineer husband. They have made some products which is, behind her, you can see, these are the kind of products she makes from these kinds of thrown away polythene bags. And another interesting innovation, again from Mumbai, they collect your old discarded shoes. And so they're saying that 5 billion people still are, they do not have a pair of a shoe or a chappal. So these people actually pick up these all discarded shoes and makes new chappals, and especially distributing in rural areas. The organization name is Green Soul. So what I'm trying to say in terms of all these pictures, we how do we perceive the waste, or how some others people has perceived the waste, so there are solutions, there are it's possible as well, but we need to the perception towards the waste. Something if you throw away, are we really thinking it can be, is there any use for that? Can I reuse it for something, or so that's something, all this experience I have learned that, there are, a solution is possible. You'll have to understand the waste, or you'll have to perceive the waste in a different way. I simply do, because I'm not an inventor, or I strongly believe. So I simply do very simple things, and which I have found that, especially understanding the waste problems, it's not a technology issue, it's not a financial, it's not lack of finance, it's mostly because certain systems and processes, if done in a right way, it can be solved very, very easily with very low cost, with low technologies and all. So I work with more than 1 lakhs of households, and so we simply tell them, you need to segregate the waste at least in 2 ways, dry or wet. That's something I tell both businesses as well as houses. So that's the first step. wherever we work, we don't get for 100%, but we have seen progress over the period of years or months in terms of people. At least 50 to 60% people are they really wanted to solve these problems voluntarily, not from any law enforcement other aspects. So yeah, this is and just I collect this waste, especially the dry waste, and I have a collection system. I bring these materials to, I call it as a material recovery facility. I bring all these waste materials to my place, and then I segregate this into different grades of plastic, different grades of paper, different grades of glass. For example, glass, there are red glasses, beer glasses, there are white glasses, there are mirror glasses, there are green glasses. So glass may be into 5 grades, and plastics may be into water bottles like PET bottles, HDPE containers, milk sachets, or so in different grades of material. And I don't do any process out here. I just forward it to the next value chain. For example, PET bottles, water bottles, I'm giving to a person who is making a polyester yarn from it. Yarn from it. He actually shred this materials and wash this with hot. He does the hot washing. He makes the flakes. Then he makes fiber. Then it goes to a then it goes to a spinning unit where they make the fabrics from it. So that's the journey of the water bottles going from it. So I get around 35 to 40 rupees. Sometimes I get between 40 to 50 rupees per kg for PET bottles. So I just need to segregate the white and green, and if there are liquor bottles, if there is metal tin in it, I'll have to remove it. So that's simply process I need to do. I don't need to invest anything. I have a compacting machine which costs around 4 lakh rupees in different places. So so in the similar way of the PET bottles, every material, once it's segregated, I prepare the raw material for the next value chain, whether it's a washing value chain or somebody who makes the different products of it. They don't take all materials. Somebody who takes PET bottle, they don't take a milk sachet. Somebody who takes a milk sachet don't takes like a Harpic or Dettol containers. So I literally segregate as per their standards and prepare the raw material from them. I get paid for this. And whatever the non-recyclable, I have tied up with this waste to energy plant, especially the cement plants. So they use this as, because this material has got high calorific value. They use this, utilize this energy, instead of the coal. And so they have some technology. So I tied up with this Dalmia, Ultratech, and all the cement plants. So all the non-recyclable waste, I send it to them. And so that's a very simple process I do. Reshma, can you share me that video of our simple process? There's a 1 minute video I have shared with you. Are you there?
One sec. Shobi, can you share the video?
Sir, അതൊന്ന് ക്ലോസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറയോ?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I have closed that. Maybe to get a basic idea. So there is no rocket science. I don't involve any highly sophisticated machines. Yeah, thanks. So I utilize the same workforce, especially the Kudumbashri workforce. I employ these people. I pay them a fixed wages, but they report to me, they work for me, and the places where I operate. So it's 90% are women-led, especially collection. We are utilizing this Kudumbashree ladies, and so we have recently, come up with a mobile application, to especially improve the collection and transportation efficiency and all. Um, so I'll just share it. So this is the workforce, mostly kind of people I utilize for collection because they get a fixed wages. And one of my idea is that they should be well dressed. Or idea is that people should not consider them as waste picker or a waste collector. So I usually take care of these people in terms of the attire and other stuff, in terms of working conditions and all. They're well dressed, and people should consider start seeing as their that's a different terminology. And so the different types of paper, for example, so plastics and all, is another process happens there. So this is the baling activities. As I said, we make this 150 kg to 100 kg bales, and usually forward to, we did try a couple of melting and other processes over here, but we thought that we'll have to focus more on collection and segregation aspect. That's a critical challenge, and there are a number of people who out there who make pellets, washing, and other lines, especially though not in Kerala, so that they want raw material as per this.
Excuse me, Jabir, can you make it full screen? Sorry to interrupt. Can you make it full screen so it's visible better?
Press F5. F5, Jabir.
Sorry,
You can
Press
press
F5.
F5.
F5, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a bit technically.
Or maybe function F5 on some laptops. Function and F5 together.
Okay. Because I'm sorry, I think.
Yeah, it's okay.
Alternative, Jabir, you can click on slideshow on the top. And
Okay.
and
Yeah, slideshow on the top. Show main monitor.
from current slide, yeah. Oh, but that's grayed out. I don't know why. Okay, let's continue. I don't know why that is grayed out. That's okay. Let's continue.
It's okay. Continue.
Okay, there are much slides. Yeah. Yeah. So then, what's my business model actually? Maybe I'll stop this thing. So sorry. See, what my business model actually? I charge 50 rupees per month from households. Somebody, and I utilize this amount as a subscription fees. Like a family is supposed to pay me 600 rupees per year, so that's one of the main revenue. And also I sell this, material, whatever, around 60% material, or some places up to 70% material. I segregate some. There is a recycling value for that. So I sell this material to a recyclers. For example, like I said, for water bottles, I fetch around 40 rupees, 45 rupees per kg. Milk sachets for 30 rupees. The similar way for different materials, there is a price for that. So I see this material. So one is the user fee subscription fee. There is a customer in Cochin who pays me 1.5 lakhs, like Astra Medicity and Rajagiri Hospital, Believers Church, Tiruvalla Medical Mission. So I manage a lot of such hospital general waste, not biomedical waste. So there are businesses who pays me like 100 rupees to 1.5 lakhs per month. and household who pays me like 50 rupees to 300 rupees per month. Again, based on the service demand, they only want food waste or they only want plastic waste, they want both kind of waste. So we even collect even napkins and diapers. That's again another issue for a lot of places. They don't, collect it. So we tie up with an incineration guy, to dispose this waste. So that's the business model we do. And other than that, I have some incentive plan. Incentive plans means I generate some other money from some other sources. For example, I work with brands like Hindustan Unilever, AVT, Godrej, Dabur, ITC, and Asian Paints. There are a couple of brands I work with. So they have some EPR compliances like extended producer responsibility compliances. For example, an HUL is, for example, ITC is giving me 1,500 metric tons in a year. Like 1,500 ton, 1,500 metric tons of plastic waste, non-recyclable plastic waste, they'll have to take back from Kerala. So they entrust me to do that job. So whatever the non-recyclable waste, I get some, a value or a kind of additional cost from these brands, so that they can, because since they have a legal compliances and they need to do a lot of like reporting, like reporting at the CPCB or state PCB, and so I have a couple of brands, who more than for the brands itself, I'm collecting more than 7,000 metric tons per year. So that's another source of revenue for me, especially for non-recyclable waste. And the third source of, I'm also working with some international brands like carbon credits. I'm also in business of plastic credits business. So for example, and I, so we realized that in Kerala is situated mostly in coastal area, so and river banks and all. So in European market and US, actually there is a good market for marine plastics, for ocean-bound plastics. So there are some international brands also who funds me to recover, to sell the credits. So I generate the credits and recovery for them and pass on the credits to them, so that so that's also something I do from Kerala. Other than the Indian brand, I also work with some international brand. So these are some of the work we do. And maybe as an organization perspective, as I said, last year we did manage more than 12,000 metric tons, both recyclables and non-recyclable together. And this year we'll be doing a 13 crore business this year. And so directly, in terms of people who are getting 10,000 rupees per month, it's more than 330 people. So there is a huge, along with the waste disposal, there is a huge potential for social impact in terms of generating employments. So my dream is to create 10,000 jobs in the next 7 to 8 years, and manage at least 30% of waste, maybe at least my during lifetime if possible. And so it's very easily, if you do this kind of business only in Kerala, even if I get even 20% of market share, it will be more than 100 crore company. So that's the kind of because I realize the customers are willing to pay in terms of at least 50 to 60% customers are willing to pay for the service, but I'm still struggling with the government compliances, regulations, regulatory agencies, and all. Rather than I spend a lot of time and energy on rather than collecting waste and disposing and thinking about it, how to manage these regulators, how to answer their queries, and how to appease them and all. So that's again another struggle, especially working in Kerala. And yeah, so that has been the small journey. And yes, that's just from my side. I just thought of sharing with you people.
Thank you, Jabir. That was an inspiring story. A youngster getting to an area waste is not that the present day youngsters will really look into, but I think your story will be inspiration for all. And not only that, it is a dream of every individual to have a clean and green Kerala. So this story, I'm sure, will make the change, and the potential of jobs it can create is amazing. So, and not only that, how you brought about the dignity of labor by giving them uniform, and bringing technology. All this is quite inspiring. So thank you for that inspiring story. Now the floor is open for Q&A. You may unmute and ask the question.
First question, can I ask?
Please, please. Right.
Your story in Kundangulam municipality is remarkable. Any plans to do the same thing in Trichur?
Sir, Kundangulam municipality, we had to stop.
Why?
Okay, we did spend a lot of energy, money, and all. So they said they have got a better system, and right now they said they know how to do manage waste better than us. And some other there is a left rule. It's all political things, right?
Oh, when did you stop?
We stopped. I think just during COVID, maybe 1.5 years, 1.5 years now. So I tried a lot of things in Angamali. I have tried in Alapi. We tried for a year, but they're saying they'll renew the contracts and all. Even for disposing waste, somebody, if I go to some place and say, okay, I need to collect plastic waste, you don't need to pay me anything. You just need to authorize me. So this. So Kundangulam I had to stop very badly. I'm getting really good response from northern Kerala now. So Calicut districts, and also working with municipalities and bigger corporation. It's very issue. But working in a village, smaller villages, or smaller municipalities, it's easy. Yeah, that's something as like especially like smaller entrepreneurs like us, we had a really bad experience. So we had to stop, sir.
More than a year ago.
Yeah, more than a year ago, and I don't know what happens. And somebody came with their political party. They said you should award the contract to that person.
Oh.
Let that person to do these things. We were not charging anything from them. I think we were just helping these Kudumbashree people. In terms of we trained them how to segregate the waste, and we fix a value. We said we will buy back the material. You prepare the raw material as per our demand. We will buy back it. So they now completely stopped that activity. Nobody is now they're actually disposing it somewhere. I don't know.
I see. Oh.
So TMA is trying to partner with them and identify a place to do a pilot project. So that becomes a model for other panchayats to follow. So we are in discussion with Jabir.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Hello.
Yes,
Mr. Jabir, this is Renu. We're basically builders here in Thrissur, say Vishram Builders. So I have a question here. In fact, being an apartment business, there are a lot of waste that comes out from a single unit or block from a smaller area. When it is flats, we have 50 to 100 units. Apartments, and it's in a smaller area. Isn't that a big scope for you in the corporation area also? Are you involved in that, and what is your frequency of collecting the waste, and how exactly you do it? Do you have a workforce that is employed in a particular area, and you move forward with that? How do you exactly do? And I would also like to know that have you ever tried to tie up with any of the builder association or something so that everybody is benefited? The whole community in that way is benefited than that individual houses. This is the scope. So I just want to know about that.
Yeah. So we have a facility in Cochin, Alua. So we can process around 5 metric tons per day. And then we have 2 facilities in Calicut, 1 facility is in Kannur, other facilities in Malappuram. There are 2 facilities in Malappuram. And we are also collecting from Varkala municipality. We are working with Varkala municipalities. Other than that, we don't have a facility. But as I said, we are working in Believers Church, Tiruvalla Medical Mission, especially large establishments. We are collecting from other districts as well. So in terms of, for example, Calicut and Cochin, I used to run these programs for apartments, hotel, restaurants, and all. But again, the corporation people have stopped me, saying that it's a Kudumbashree projects. I'm trying to topple down the government schemes and projects, and a private entrepreneur is not supposed to collect it. I said I have the pollution control board license. I'm paying the GST. I have the facilities. I can provide any kind of documents. What do I do with my technology and everything? So I'm completely happy. For example, last year, Dr. Adila Abdullah, yes, she lives in Cochin, Calicut city. she called me and said, you know, she called me and said, you need to come and pick my garbage because Kudumbashree is not coming in. So I mean, we are happy to frequency daily collection we can do, weekly collection we can do based on the kind of waste you want to dispose, the kind of service you want to dispose. For example, food waste, if you want to dispose, I may need, for example, Thrissur Apollo Hospital. I think Apollo Hospital is our client, and food waste, you need a minimum business volume. You need a specific set of customers to start off, and other non-biodegradable waste, something which we can plan. Even apartments and whatever the frequency as the customer demands. But the thing is that if I come to your place, someone else may be involved currently. So without the corporation, the local government approval, I cannot even collect waste. So that's the reality. So for individual houses, I do provide because that's not a problem. But an apartment, I manage. You know, the local health inspector would seize my vehicle. They would see the penalty. I remember the Taj Hotel and Ravi's group of hotels. They were pretty happy with my service for the last 4 years. So recently the corporation officials went to them and scared them. They said, you know, they will issue that the kind of penalty if you give away the waste to this person. No, you know, I mean, I don't know whether you should give it to only Kudumbashree people. I don't know whether they have any, you know, internal business in it. So that's the only regulatory aspects. Technology is not a technology or any kind of service. Any city in Kerala we can provide. Of course, food waste, if you want to dispose, we may need a specific number of houses. For that, you know, I can send the vehicle at least, you know, on a daily basis. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, we are not concerned much about. Yeah, no, the biodegradable is okay because if you are aware, there's something called CREDAI Clean City project. So most of us are availing that service and it's going on well. But we are definitely concerned about the non-biodegradable ones, and that's where you said you have a good facility. Probably you can probe into a tie-up at some way or the other. I feel that would be a great plus. Yeah.
Yeah, we did try. Yeah. We CREDAI, I think Calicut CREDAI, you know, we did approach. Cochin CREDAI also, I think they were doing, well as far as I know. But builders, I did work, especially in Cochin and mostly in Calicut. But I had to back out due to this issue. But if you want specific service, if you are willing to take that risk of getting any threats from because we'll say this person has called us and we have come in, then we can surely provide you service and it's sure not a problem.
So I think we will share the details and then maybe both of you can see whether it makes business sense. Thank you, Renu. Next question. Mr. Radish, you are on mute, Mr. Radish. Please unmute.
Okay. May I know what processing you are doing with organic waste? Organic waste processing.
Yeah. See, I'm managing less than 10% only, and of course, because my primary, my expertise or my primary objective is to collect non-biodegradable, but some customers do ask us. So some material goes to animal farms, pig farms, and all. Some material we are doing composting with a bioenzyme. A foul tree and bioenzymes. I tied up with a Bangalore-based company, so we are doing the composting. Food waste. 15 days there is a process which we do it. That's something. But that's not my expert area, and I usually tie up with people who has infrastructure, who has good technology, and so that's the technology for.
So you spray some inoculum and it gets digested within a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So there is a method. There's a different methods I use. Of course, it's a bioenzyme, inoculum, and other stuff.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Hi, Jabir. I'm Jackson.
Right, George.
I'm audible. Am I audible?
Yes. Please go ahead. Yeah.
We hear a lot about this carbon credits being traded by companies outside India. So you mentioned that you were dealing with the brands that are having interest in acquiring carbon credits. So how difficult is the process? The certification, licensing, and all these things. Is it practically possible for somebody sitting in Kerala or maybe working in India?
Yeah, I said. Like carbon credits, there is a new market coming in for plastic credits.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm the only person from Kerala who does that plastic credit business. And have customers who pays me around 20 lakhs per month. Especially US market, they have a social compliance standards, like they do a third party auditing. There are lots of social auditing standards, but they pay me like 4 times than the Indian brands. So I'm literally making money from brands, by selling this plastic credits. So Indian brands, I said around 7,000 metric tons of plastics. I do that, and European brands around 100 tons only per month. Yeah, so that's possible. There is a standards for that, and there is a standard for that. There is a third party agencies for that to verify it. So I usually work with a third party, so they outsource the work for me. So mostly the documentation, other part, they take care of it. And also there are a lot of technology platform. For example, if you buy a water bottle in Germany, there's a company. So if you can scan the water bottle, there is a QR code in the water bottle. If you scan it, so it comes to Greenworms website and our work and all. So they tell the story that if you buy one water bottles, we are equally collecting from Asian countries. Why they are coming to India and developing country? Because they are saying marine plastic, coming from Asian countries. Mostly this is the place where the waste gets unmanaged and all. So they don't need. They are spending mostly. They are happy to spend in places where there is no system of waste collections and all. So there are certain technology platform. I don't do any paperwork at all. I just need to follow the technology, like from collection, transportation, everything. I just need to follow as per their standards. So no paperwork involved. So I'm literally making some penny out of it. That's one of the revenue source as well.
Great. All the best in your endeavors.
Mr. Jabir, you have your activities outside Kerala?
Sir, we did because some of the brands really wanted, because I take the outsourcing work of Delhi based or Mumbai based organizations. So we have a couple of municipalities where we are just disposing non-recyclable waste. In Tamil Nadu, we have some operations. And other than serious operations in Andaman Nicobar Island, because again it's another hotspot for marine plastics. And Lakshadweep government, we have tied up with 3-year contracts for the last 2 years. We have been collecting waste from Lakshadweep Islands. So Kerala, Lakshadweep, and Andaman, these are the 3 areas, and 2 villages in Godavari cluster, Godavari Namra region. So these are the other than 65 to 70% business in Kerala, and we do not want to scale or in terms of horizontally spread the work. We rather wanted to focus more on in one specific region. That's why in Calicut, I'm working in only one cluster, 10 villages in and around. So I'm trying to dig more deeper and creates more tangible impact in one specific area rather than spreading across. So that's the plan. But we had a really fair good experience in other places.
Yeah. So why I'm asking
But customers are willing to pay here only.
Yeah. Why I'm asking is, you told that you had some better experience from these politicians and corporations here, like as you told that Kudumbashree would be taking up, and you are denying the opportunity of Kudumbashree and all. You have any this kind of experience outside Kerala? How do you rate that?
Outside Kerala, political and other official experience are not bad experience are there. But the business perspective, right? Because some of I'm designing this business model. Even if there is no external organization or this plastic credits comes to help me, the business should be self-sustainable. Like the customer should pay for the service, right? So outside Kerala, customers are not willing to pay. But in Kerala, customers are willing to pay for the service. So it does make a business sense for me here in the long run. And also the marine plastic, that's an area which I wanted to focus more on, because I'm trying to shift the water bottle to, especially Hong Kong and Sydney.
Oh, that's great.
And all. For example, some brands have reached out to me. They wanted to make the water. So these kinds of ocean-bound plastic certifications and EDAC certification, ethically sourced plastics and all. So I'm trying to get into different market. So Kerala feels a good fit and the Kudumbashree story also good fit. I'm experiencing the same issues in metro cities, not in semi-urban or rural areas. In villages and all, you get easily access. People listen to you. But if you go to a Cochin corporation, Thrissur corporations and all, those people sit, feeling that they know everything and they don't need such solutions. They are not even willing to try. For example, as she said, for customers are willing to. Apartments are saying we want your service. We are happy to take your service. We are not
Yes.
asking any money. We are not asking any land. We are not asking anything from them. We're just asking you, let us do the business. So Kerala makes a more business sense since customers are willing to pay. In other places, people don't pay for waste disposal.
So you feel that Kerala is still a very potential market for you, right? Okay, thank you very much.
I always have a plan B in terms of,
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, we have time for the last question. One last question.
There's one Mr. Abhinav Mahajan who has raised his hand.
Yeah, please. Last question. Yeah. Please go ahead, Mr. Abhinav.
Good evening, sir. Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Jabir. And good evening, everybody. So I'm into waste management and I'm actually working in Nigeria. So actually, I wanted to know how we process plastic in India. Because normally I see people use pyrolysis. So they convert all plastic into fuel oil, something like that, and ash. How we do it in India, and do we get some waste disposal certificate for that? How we go about that?
In India there is a really good, robust informal recycling industry. So I'll tell you the three technologies. We do also send materials to pyrolysis units that makes oil, furnace, industrial grade furnace oil. But those industries are very far away because in Maharashtra there's a place called Akola, and in Hyderabad there are some places. So it's transportation wise doesn't, it's not feasible for me to transfer this material. It's a lightweight material. But I do send materials to pyrolysis plants, which is not widely practiced in southern India. In India, they are coming up, and so mostly recycling is the one thing. We make pellets. Like I don't make pellets. I give materials to people who does the washing and make pellets, and using that pellets, that how you can make any other material from it. And other than that, waste energy means cement plants. I'm sending this material, non-recyclable material, cement plant. They use it as an alternative fuel. So there's a technology called co-processing. So that's something it's possible. So co-processing, recycling, pyrolysis. These are the three type of technologies where our material is going for the final disposals. And if there is a hazardous waste material, of course, we send to Cochin. And if there is a biomedical waste, we send to biomedical treatment, like incineration facility. That's how the system has been. I don't know whether I made any sense too, because I don't know how well the presentation went. All I was trying to say is very simple. You need to collect the waste properly. You need to transport the waste properly. You need to store the waste properly, and grade or segregate into, they call secondary and tertiary segregations. And you don't need to make anything. You channelize to the right end user. There is an end user for everything, every type of material. The so-called hardly 2% is so-called inert and residues. It's 2%. 98% of the so-called waste has some a reuse value, some recycling or repurpose value. So it's all about the attitude. It's all about the very simple processes, and setting up these things and mostly getting the control. Then it's very, very, very easy process. And hopefully I think sir will give us a chance to. We have found out a village in Thrissur. I think it's Talipura or some village in Thrissur. Then so we have made a proposal there. The village also agreed to set up do a projects over there, and so hopefully that we will be able to demonstrate some practical model there, how the system works for all of you people in Thrissur. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jabir. That was really nice. And thank you all for the lively interaction. So we are with you, Jabir. We will try to, help you to promote, and get this waste collection system in Thrissur. We are working on it. And now, as a token of our love and appreciation, we would like to give you a small memento. Shobi, can you just display it? So this is made of So these are products made out of coconut, and this is made by All Women Self-Help Group, and it'll be shipped to your home address. So thank you, Mr. Jabir. And for a formal word of thanks, I invite Engineer Francis George.
Before Francis, one word from on behalf of AEA. We are thrilled to hear your wonderful paper, your speech, and I'm certain that Vinod and all of us will see something comes out in Thrissur. All the best, Jabir. Francis, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vinod and Anand, sir. I want to start by thanking the president of the meeting, Engineer Vinod Manjula, who is also the president of TMA, for the presidential address, welcome, introducing the chief guest and also arranging for the chief guest. This is an area that TMA wants to explore. It's one of the initiatives that we are rolling out this year. So this really helps. This session really helps. Next, I want to thank the chief guest, Jabir. It was a very inspiring session. It's seldom that we, in our normal lives, we don't stop to think about waste, except, how do I get rid of my waste? But this session changed that, I think. It was very thought-provoking, and the amount of innovation that happens in this field and the amount of opportunities available is amazing. And I personally learned 2 new words, garbology and trashonomics. I'm sure it was new to a few other people also. Next, I want to thank the president of Architects and Engineers Association, Engineer Anand Menon, for roping in and tying up with us, partnering with us for making this session happen. Last but not the least, I want to thank everyone who participated, the office bearers, the past presidents of both TMA and AEA, and all the members, and everyone in the audience who attended. Thank you, and have a good night.
So thank you all once again. Our meeting is adjourned. Good night.
Sure, sir. You can share the contact email IDs or contact number if somebody has any concerns or want to reach out for anything. I'm glad to.
Yes. We will do that. We will do that. And we shall meet shortly on the project in Talikot.